Hello, everyone. Good morning and good evening, depending on where you are. Hope you are doing good. Welcome to the first talk show of WIP FM 113.0, organized by IEEE Power and Energy Young Professionals Women in Power. WIP FM WIP FM 113.0 is a monthly talk show intended to give you the opportunity, the required skill, inspiration, and motivation, technical and other areas where you can get yourself in the field of power and energy. We will be introducing you to your leaders and experts from diverse fields in the sector whom you can get connected with, get yourself mentored, and streamline your career towards achieving your goal. Today, in the first episode of WIP FM 113, we have a very prominent face from power and energy sector, a versatile leader and the founding chair of IEEE Power and Energy Society Women in Power, Dr. Shay Bahramirad. She is currently working as Vice President of Climate and Resilience at Quanta Technology. We are very happy to have you with us, Dr. Shay. Welcome to the talk show.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you are a familiar face in the industry as well as IEEE, but for your young listeners and viewers, can you give a brief introduction about yourself, touching upon your educational and cultural background?
Sure. I'm Shay Bahramirad, and as you heard, I'm the Vice President of Climate and Resilience at Quanta Technology. My job is to work with cities and municipalities and utilities and develop resilience and climate plan for them. Um, Recently, I've been spending a lot of times in Puerto Rico after the number of hurricanes and earthquakes that they have, rebuilding the grid in Puerto Rico. I am also an adjunct professor at Illinois Tech, and I teach courses related to microgrid design, planning, and operation of the grid of the future, smart grid, and microgrid. I serve as the Vice President of New Initiative and Outreach with IEEE PES, and I have a very exciting role working with a team of volunteers to connect with regulators and policymakers globally to develop new initiatives that they are aligned with long-range plan of IEEE PES and focusing on a number of different issues that are very close to my heart, including smart village, smart cities, as well as creating a diversity task force to look into how we can diversify IEEE PES at many different aspects. You asked about my cultural background. I was born and raised in Iran. I've lived in several countries, and in the past 15 years, I've been living in Chicago. I have a PhD in electric power engineering, and I speak 5 languages and all of them with accent. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you for your introduction. So, the next question, your career growth is really inspiring, starting off as research assistant, moving to the project role, and then taking up several leadership positions, and finally, now at Quanta Technology, focusing on climate change and resilience. How has it been? What is your main focus areas now? And would you mind elaborating on different responsibilities held? So we are asking this question because for our young viewers, they would like to know what is your main focus area and what are the responsibilities held in hello Shay,
Yeah,
can
I
you hear?
can hear you. Yes.
Yes. So the question is, how was your journey with like starting from the research assistant, moving to the project role, and then taking up different leadership positions, and finally now at Quanta Technology, focusing on climate change. How your journey was? How has it been for you? And what is your main focus area? And would you mind elaborating on different responsibilities held?
All right. That so a little bit about my professional history. Before coming to the U.S., I've worked in several engineering roles, but I start from the time that I was a research assistant in at Illinois Tech. I've worked on microgrid and energy storage and demand side management as part of my PhD. Um, After that, I worked in SNC Electric in several positions, starting from in analytical services, doing engineering studies related to solar farms, wind farms, market structure, and developing some of the educational packages that at a time SNC had. In addition, uh, once somebody who changed my career, he tapped me on the shoulder and he asked me to join field services, and I traveled around the country in the US, and I worked in a number of distribution automation devices that they were at the um, proof of concept stage in number of utilities around the country. After that, I joined the electric utility in Illinois, ComEd, that serves close to 4 million customers within Illinois. And I started as the manager of smart grid and technology, and my job was to build the first microgrid in our service territory. It took me 5 years to get there, but we got number of grants from U.S. Department of Energy to build the first microgrid controller, and to build the first microgrid cluster in the U.S. After that, I became the director of planning and smart grid and innovation. In addition to being in charge of DER integration to the system, distribution planning, and being an architect, chief architect of the system for today and the future as part of smart grid and emerging technology role, I was responsible for fostering culture of innovation at ComEd for the entire company. And then after that, for 3 years or so, I was the vice president of engineering and smart grid, and my role was um, being accountable for developing standards in interconnection of new technologies and planning, field engineering, maintenance inspection, and many parts and pieces of day-to-day job of an electric utility. And in the past 8 months, I've been with Quanta Technology, as I mentioned, as the VP of Climate and Resilience, basically focusing on developing climate plan and resilience plan because of a lot of challenges that we are facing as an industry today. It's something that I'm very passionate about.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you for sharing your career path with us. So, the next question is I see you authored many white papers while working with different companies, especially Comet, and also different several papers in IEEE. We have a lot of research enthusiasts who would like to explore their opportunity. How was your experience working on this? Was it tough, especially for those in the industry? If you want to be a part of some research group, how should they prepare themselves? Adding to that, you also co-authored with Julio on a paper on IEEE Transportation Electrification magazine. Can you elaborate a bit more about those work?
So there are, it's something that you need to be intentional about it. When you get to industry, especially if you don't choose the path of academia, which I try to balance the both words of teaching and being in industry, it's extremely hard to make the time and write about things that you work on. But I always saw it as a way to get back and to give back and share the um, my experience as a practitioner with industry. I have gained a lot personally and professionally from Power and Energy Society in the three continents that I have lived. And I do need to go an extra mile to make sure that I do give back. In terms of writing, it's something that I see extremely important for and for you as young professionals. It's a skill that if you don't use it, you will lose it, and it's very important to learn and keep practicing the ideas and how you put it on paper and communicate it with different audience. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Shay. And we will move to the next question. People always think of making their life easy and smooth. They try to avoid any hiccups that hinder their growth. So, you have been in the industry for a long time and you would have had different experience at every stage of your career. We would be more than happy if you can share some of the challenges you have faced in your journey, and but there would be at least one or two instances where you might have been perplexed over a choice to make or face a tough situation. Do you recall any such scenarios, and would you we request you to share that with our audience?
That's a very hard question. And the answer is yes, I have faced challenges along the way. And it has made me pause and think if um, the decisions that I've made along the way, they've been the right ones. Um, I share with you two things. One is that when I got into leadership role initially, it was very hard for me to um, express my point, and I had to be 100% sure and check and double check and to make sure what I'm saying is right. And usually the time would pass. You go to a meeting and it's important to be engaged real time. And I do not want to stereotype, but that's something that I see it a lot with many women that I work with. And I had to work with a number of people that they were my supporter and managers, and they would give me this space in meetings to practice. And after a while, it became part of me. That's something that I needed to learn along the way. Or public speaking, that wasn't something that it was easy for me. I was getting extremely nervous when I wanted to go on the stage. I remember the first presentation I wanted to make at general meeting, and my blood pressure dropped. It was like 20 years ago, but still, it was. I remember that day. The second thing that I would like to share with you is as a leader. One thing that I think leaders need to learn at some point in their career is that to pace the change in the organization that they are. When you work, you have a lot of passion and you would like to change and fix things and bring new ideas. It's important to understand the environment that you're in and the fact that it takes time to get people on board and people follow through. Otherwise, it's not a sustainable change. I learned it in my first leadership um, opportunity, both at IEEE PES and in my day-to-day job. PES provides a very safe environment to practice these skills. So what you're doing today, I commend you for that, and I ask you to keep doing it. And it's something that helps you to build as a leader, and you can utilize these skills in either industry or academia that you go.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you for answering our question. And the next question is diversity and inclusion is one of the key performance indicator of every organization. Some companies have around 10 percentage female staff, while others have been able to achieve more than 20 to 25 percentage. However, the energy sector is still considered male dominant according to a report from International Renewable Energy Agency published in March. So, gender equality is most evident at decision making levels. What, according to you, are the challenges faced by women to enter into power and energy sector? And what would be the reason for a low representation of women in senior management positions? What can we do about it?
I think we are taking the right steps um, in the right direction. There are a number of challenges. I've lived, as I told you, in 3 different continents, and in some form or fashion, I have seen and experienced some of these issues that we have to resolve as a society, as a professional society, and as a global society, to attract more women into our profession. Number one. Second, take active actions to keep them in our society. We lose many of them when they graduate to different things, and um, making sure that we provide the mentorship and support to get them into leadership positions. There are a number of things that I can think of, such as double competence. Like, women often feel that a great pressure to continue providing their professional worth. It's something that, again, working in and having a team of 500 people, or in a at PES, I have witnessed so many times. And there are others that they have been in these positions, and we have to continue to tell their story and show them as role models, and uh, educate the next generation with the fact that it hasn't been an easy journey, but it's very much worth it. At PES, we are doing quite a lot. If you look at the board of PES, we do have diversity from many different aspects, from in terms of age, in terms of global geographical area, and the one that is very close to my heart is gender diversity. And we try to replicate that at different functional area within PES. I championed the task force called Diversity Task Force in the past 2 years, and the intention of the task force was to create a metrics for all operational part of PES, from conferences, editorial in chiefs, and keep track of the diversity and see how we are doing and if we are making any progress. I think we have a very, very long way to go, but we have taken the steps to get there. This is the first time in the history that 3 women are running for PES presidency. I'm running alongside of 2 professors, and 2 female professors, 2 very good friends of mine, for PES president-elect. And I think that's something that we have to pause and celebrate. We've come a long way as a society.
Yes, Shay, you're absolutely correct. And thank you for answering our question. So, the next one is, we see a lot of women taking career breaks, either to support their family, their personal well being, or it could be some other reasons. Also, I have also heard a lot on the work life balance, and recently on work life integration. Do you think it would be really hard for women to come back to this field after a break? If so, what kind of preparation they have to take to arrest the career break challenges?
So perhaps this is the hardest question that you gave me today. The work-life balance is an extremely personal thing, and it's something that I believe that everybody should find their own balance. Your balance is different than mine, but what's important is that to take the time from day to day and be centered. And for one person, it works with spending time with family. For other person, it's about writing. For somebody else, it's about volunteering in a cause that they are passionate about. But it's very important to make sure that that balance exists. In terms of coming back to professional career, I should tell you that it's not an easy transition. Women go through these transitions in their career as they go through different stages in life. And as a professional society in energy sector, we have to make sure that we provide that space and we contribute to it, and make sure that when women come back to, or actually I say parents, because these days there are sometimes there are men that they decide to be stay at home dad for a while and then come back. We have to make sure that we contribute and we welcome them back to work and provide that opportunity. The second thing that I would say is that there are different ways to stay connected to industry, not necessarily as in a full-time position, but there are different local volunteer opportunity in within PES, in chapters, in any form or fashion that men or women who take a break from their career can stay engaged with their network, with the issues in industry, and that helps them to come back to work. There are either it's about reviewing papers or working with conferences or volunteering in different events that IEEE hosts in local area. That's something that again it helps you to learn what are the current challenges are, and staying in touch with the people who are active and utilizing that network to come back. I think it's a two side of the there are two different parts into this puzzle and two sides of the coin. One is an individual choice and individual contributions to make sure that they stay connected. The second part is that for the decision makers and for the leaders in industry to make sure that we do provide opportunities for people with different life circumstances and life choices.
Thank you, Shay. Thank you for answering our question. The next one is, according to the International Energy Agency, women are listed in less than 11% of patent application related to energy sector. We have heard that getting a patent is really tough. Of course it is. As a holder of several US patents, how does it feel like to be a part of this 11%? How was your experience working on this? Was it challenging? If you can touch upon the different kind of preparation you took and how you work on it. So if you can give us some details regarding this, it would be really helpful for our participants.
Um, you asked me how it feels, and I can tell you that I feel privileged and honored. Um, it's an humbling experience. As a woman who grew up during war in Iran, I imagined life um, professionally differently, and many parts and pieces of it became true. And I feel like a lucky woman. I had the opportunity to meet a lot of people along the way from all over the world. And through this journey, I've been fortunate to visit many parts of the world and meet many professionals just because of what I do. In terms of it, if it's been challenging, I can tell you that yes, it's been challenging at times. I've made mistakes, and I have had supporters and sponsors and mentors and friends along the way to teach me and educate me. And, we live to learn, and correcting those mistakes and making sure that as we go along, I don't make them again and again. But one thing that I can share with you is that being open to challenges is something that has always energized me. I have raised my hand for many different projects, many different positions, and that I didn't even know how to tackle. And the fun part of it was to reach out to a lot of professional acquaintances and friends that I've met through PES and ask for help and think through and talk through and work through it to make it happen. I'm going to give you one example. I was asked to build a microgrid in Illinois, and I worked in a small part of a microgrid in Illinois Tech. But then the question was, where do you want to put a microgrid in a state of Illinois? And I called at a time Demir Novosel. He was the VP of Technical Council, and he was running for PES president. And I told him, hey, I have to build a microgrid, and is it something that you can we can talk about it? And we scheduled a call, and we did some brainstorming, and I talked with Professor Shahidapur at IIT. So you see that it's a combination of academia, industry, all the connections that I have made at PES to do the brainstorming, to tackle the problem. And that was a very big opportunity for me at a time, and work through it. So I would say that I talked a lot to get to the point that being open to challenges, even if at times it feels overwhelming, that's something that has served me really well along the years.
Thank you, Shay. So the next question is we heard.
Just a minute. Stagey, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Ah, okay. Finally. Okay. I think there was some audio issue with my system, so finally figured it out, and hopefully things go well now. Hi, Shay.
Hi, Preeti.
Nice to see you again.
Wonderful
Yeah.
to see you too. It's great to hear you. I'm glad you figured it out.
Yeah, finally. So Shay, we heard a lot about your professional journey. Now, let's hear something about your volunteering activities, especially IEEE and Power and Energy Society. What are the various initiatives that you're involved in currently, and how can the society members contribute to them? If you can take us through how IEEE helps in a professional development as well, that would be really helpful for the listeners out there.
So currently, I'm working on. I'm serving as the VP of New Initiative and Outreach. There are different initiatives that they report to me. One is smart cities. When we took that on at PES, the IEEE was at the stage to not to be sure where the home is and what is the direction of that. And then I work with a number of volunteers, and we create an infrastructure of volunteers to talk about emerging issues around the world, things like electrification, integration of distributed energy resources, and so many different topics that are very important for our industry and very important for the cities that we live. If there is anybody who wants to contribute to that, I would ask you to just send me a note and try to get engaged. Smart City has thousands of volunteers, and we are going to have our conference next week to talk about different tracks related to the roads toward decarbonization of cities, or future urban mobility, or how post-pandemic experience and lessons learned from different cities it's going to look like. We have educational committee and marketing committee and conference committee. So there are different ways for you guys to contribute. The second thing that I worked for the past couple of years is Smart Village. It's a initiative that it's a humanitarian part of PES, and we very much support the humanitarian part of Smart Village, of PES and IEEE, which is a smart village, to provide different types of projects and electricity in places in the world that they don't have a reliable power. 1 billion people in 2021, they still don't have reliable power, and that's something that as a society we can definitely tackle. Again, if you're interested in participating in those humanitarian activities, that's something that I would love to connect you to that. I talked about diversity task force and working with different leaders in PES to make sure that we do have diversity incorporated into our performance. We have a very long way to go, but we are committed. I can tell you that as a governing board to get there. I have been working on establishing a new conference. You are going to hear more about it. It's called Grid Edge. It's going to get announced in the next couple of months, and as part of TND conference in New Orleans next year. and it's about it's going to be about a show, a conference, and an exhibit that is going to touch the grid edge type technologies. And then lastly, we are going to announce Tiago and I. He's from Brazil, and from Region 9 Entrepreneurship Program, PES Entrepreneurship Program. That's a program that is going to foster entrepreneurship in our society. It's a very exciting initiative. I should tell you that our industry was built on two entrepreneurs. Edison was an entrepreneur, and that's something that we want to go back to our roots and have competitions in different conferences and create different committees and ambassadors, and that's something that you're going to hear more about it. And then lastly, there is a industry technical committee, leadership committee that provides advice to regulatory bodies like U.S. Department of Energy or Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and we look into different topics that are very important, such as the team. I spearhead two white papers. One of them was related to definition of resilience, metrics of resilience, and how energy industry or electric utilities or electric power system needs to be resilient and take actions to get there. Right now, we are working on a white paper related to climate change and the importance of grid modernization in fighting the climate change, both from mitigation and adaptation. And lastly, there is an initiative called Corporate Engagement Program that we have partnership with a number of corporations in different parts of the world, in China, in Peru, and in the US, that we work with them to increase membership and create educational packages, at the same time getting engaged these members into many different activities that we have going on. So there's a lot going on.
Those are really wonderful initiatives, I should say, and I can feel the enthusiasm in your face as well as words as well. So it's really great to know that you're a very important part of all these things, and it's wonderful to know that such initiatives are coming up to serve the humanity. So one of my IEEE friends had told me once, just initiate and then think about how to sustain it, because starting is half the battle. That is more important and tough, and staying consistent is the other half. So what yeah, so what motivated you to start the Power and Energy Society Women in Power group? What were your focal points, and how do you see its growth in future?
I am in agreement with your friend. Whoever that person has been, you should tell the person that I am very much in agreement with what's been said. I told you that it's like living in 3 different continents and contributing to energy sector, either in university, academia, in research institutions. I found it as it is important to have if we want to utilize the all the talent out there and to advancing the world by creativity and innovation, we need a diverse leadership. And how can we do that? By fostering career and connections and the talent and the enthusiasm and the passion that women in our sector brings to the table. I talked with and brainstormed with number of people, number of leaders, and number of men and women leaders to put together a plan and a proposal that in 2013 was approved by PES governing board. No Schultz at a time, and Jovichka Milanovic, Matt Bolan. I can go on and on, the number of people that helped me to, at a time, it was a wild idea to shape it and put it on paper and propose it. The way we structured it was an affiliate group under Women in Energy and focusing on early career candidates and helping them to get into different leadership positions through recognition and education and mentoring, developing support in institutions by giving them opportunities for qualified candidates. It's developing local communities for women to stay in touch and talk about some of the challenges that they face, and telling the story of the ones that they've been in this journey in the past, to create role models so people can look up to or reach out to for advice. This is something that is very, very close and dear to my heart. And I've seen I was fortunate to go to India, and for the first conference of Women in Power. I cannot tell you how exciting it was. It was like a dream come true, to have women from India, Bangladesh, and many different parts of the world to come together and talk about the technical issues, in addition to some of the leadership topics that are important in our industry, both from universities as well as industry.
That's actually really wonderful. You must have done quite a lot of preparation before starting it. That's quite evident. So, sustaining, that is something, a remarkable achievement if you're able to do so. And for women, it's an even harder challenge. You don't know what comes in your way. Often we see women dropping off, maybe due to personal reasons, or it could be something else. Probably you know it better as you have been or seen the various faces. With all these different roles and responsibilities, how do you ensure the level of passion and enthusiasm is sustained in all that you do, whether it is work or IEEE?
Pretty. First of all, I should tell you that this is a challenge that everybody faces. It's not only special to women, but what I can share with you is that, to me, seeing the energy and the great new ideas that the younger generation they bring to the table, that makes me be hopeful and excited, and feel honored to be part of it. What you are doing right now and starting this podcast, or what do you call it?
That's an FM.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's FM.
It's this is amazing. So it's all about people and starting something, and it's about bringing people that they share the same enthusiasm with you, and they are excited and passionate about the cause that is important to you. It can be anything, and making sure that you pass the baton to the next one and to the next one, and staying in touch. That's exactly what you are doing right now. You made my Saturday by these hard questions that you have, and you made me think and go back in history. It's something that we didn't have. That this is the first time in PES history that somebody is doing what you're doing. So you're making history. I would tell you that the people side and the ideas that come through younger generation and young professionals always keeps me extremely excited and passionate to continue what I do.
Thanks a lot, Shay, for that. So I also really feel happy hearing this. The same thought came to me as well. So when I thought about creating this FM, initially I did not know how it would be. As you said, this is kind of a first of the time talk show that is happening in IEEE PES. So, but then I thought, okay, fine, because of all the younger generations in a dilemma right now on what to pursue, what are the different opportunities out there. So I thought, why not try to bring the leaders or experts from this power and energy sector, so that we would be able to introduce to them what is in there out for all of those enthusiastic and interested people. So that was the main reason why I initiated this, and I'm happy that you're part of it. And maybe let's move on. You mentioned about the mentorship program or getting mentored from experts. So most of the people out there have at least one person like this to point out to who has made an impact in their lives. And we have also seen a lot of mentorship programs being developed these days. And do you think it is important to have a mentor? If so, what changes can it bring to our lives?
The answer is yes. It is important to have mentors and sponsors. They are equally important. Mentors are the ones that they hear you out and they guide you along the way. But sponsors are the ones that they open doors and provide opportunities. That's something that is extremely important as you go on in your career. It's important to find someone that you have a chemistry with, as well as intellectual chemistry, as well as feeling comfortable to share the challenges that you face. I have had several mentors and number of sponsors in my career, and I can tell you that I have learned quite a lot from every single one of them along the way. We started having for Women in Power to for people to send requests of where they are and if they are looking for a mentor, and we try to connect them with number of different either experts or leaders at the local area that you have. I think that's something that PES we can take it to the next level and have a more formalized program, and that's something that I know John has been working on it for a while, and I hope to see it in for Women in Power at a different scale as well.
Even I hope so that such kind of mentorship programs comes from our side as well, so that we would be able to uplift all the young engineers who are interested to a level which they are dreaming of. And since this FM show is mainly intended to help the young engineers out there, and we know that the energy sector is quite diverse. You have had a lot of experiences working in different fields, and you must be knowing there are quite a lot of opportunities in there. So it might be a little hard to say the exact skill sets needed to succeed in the sector. But for young professionals who are in this field or who wish to start their career in power and energy, what are the key skills that they should possess? It could be technical or non-technical, whatever you feel.
I can think of three important skills that I would look into any young engineer. One is that a technical foundation. It is extremely important early on in your career to take the time and develop that technical skill, whatever that is. It will serve you well along the way. If you're an expert in one field, you gotta be an expert, and being a generalist wouldn't serve you really well long term. So this is the most important part. The second thing that I would say is the art of being in a team, working in a team and collaborating, and teamwork is extremely important, especially when you go to industry, even in academia. The projects and the initiatives that they are successful, they are the ones that it's a very strong team and strong collaboration happening. That's something that you can practice at PES by volunteering and doing different things in different form or fashion that you like. And then the third thing that I think it doesn't come to us and as engineers naturally is the art of communication. It is important that to have this skill to take complex ideas and translate it into human language. A lot of different things that we do are so very complicated for people outside of our sector, but technology leads at the end of the day policy rules. If we want to make sure that these new technologies have a space and have a policy and it's supported to be to come to reality, we should be able to learn to take that and communicate it, that complex ideas, and communicate them in simple way, both verbally as well as in in written and writing skills. These are the two things that I think on the communication side is extremely important. So going back to three skills. One is the technical foundation. Second is the ability to work in a team, teamwork. And the third one, communication, both writing and being able to communicate your thoughts and ideas.
That's very well said, Shay. I also agree to that because I can say the two skills that you mentioned are, again, the Vesta's core values, which is communication and collaboration. And in communication itself, as you mentioned, how simple can you convey the information so that the other person can easily understand? That's a very valid point, and I hope that the listeners take these three technology or these three skill set into serious consideration and work on it so that they will be able to achieve their goals maybe pretty shortly. Okay, so before closing this, Shay, if you can give some final remarks on how young engineers can utilize the opportunities in power and energy sector. I don't want to call it an advice, but what do you think they should be doing in order to help create a sustainable world?
So, Pretty, I congratulate you for taking the initiative and starting the first ever PES FM talk show. It's I'm honored to be your first guest, and I look forward to seeing what your talk show is going to bring. If there's anything that I can help you with, you can always count on it. Um, the second thing you asked me about my thoughts in industry. Our our industry, energy industry, is at the center of a profound change, and the grid that we have built over generations, working in the background to serve society's need, and it's on the spotlight a lot more than in the past these days. Climate change is not a warning anymore, but it's a challenge that we have to take it on. And the technological advances and standards are needed to address these challenges that I would say that it can be daunting at most, but us as engineers, we don't shy away from them. We run towards them to solve them. And IEEE is the thought leader and leading professional society in energy sector. We are equipped to embrace um, this industry and solve these societal problems, from climate change, from providing energy justice for parts of the world and providing reliable electricity to 1 billion people around the world that they don't have that. There are many different ways to contribute to it. As young professionals, you've been given a lifetime opportunity to contribute to something that is way bigger than electricity and electrons. You can solve societal problems, and it's a privilege to be part of it. So I would ask you to take the initiative the way that your friend Preeti did, and reach out to any part of PES that you are passionate to contribute to. On behalf of PES Governing Board, I share with you that we will be extremely excited and honored to include anybody with ideas and consider them and help them and support them to foster this society. So thank you again. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing what's next in your Women in Power FM talk show.
Thank you so much, Shay. We are extremely happy and honored to have you with us, especially for this first talk show. I wanted to start this FM with you, and I'm really happy that you accepted our invitation and gave your valuable insights. And I hope that the young professionals who are viewing this will find it really helpful in streamlining their career. Thank you once again. Hope to see you in the upcoming episodes. Thank you so much, Shay.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.